Hello everyone, my name is Pantonics and today we got a pro replay for you, and by pro replay I mean it's Faker bitches. We're gonna look at Faker from SKT1 Gaming, South Korea Telecom Gaming, and basically they just won World. It's the summary of it, and Faker is almost definitely the best player in the world now. He's an incredibly good mid laner. He just crushes everyone he meets. Well, not everyone. He had, for a long time, 100% win rate with Ari in Worlds. That's like, damn. But he is almost undeniably the best player in the world. At least the best mid player in the world by a very long way. And first off, I'm going to have a disclaimer. I'm no way near the same caliber of skill as Faker. Not even close to slightly close. Like, he is just above and beyond my abilities. And probably way better than I'll ever be. Like, if I could train and just sit here and play this game for the next 200 years, then he would still be better than me. But oh well, that's kind of depressing. But let's just go right ahead and booyah. So, it's a YouTube clip. I know, I'm cheap. But at the same time, it's also really high quality. Whoa. At the same time, I didn't really have time to download the entire clip. And I know that's what I normally do, but today I'm not doing it for you. But, that's, oh well. So basically, we got Faker Cassin against Zed. I don't know who the Zed is. I don't really care all that much. But it's pretty standard. I mean, it's just a replay here. But I can't control it because YouTube videos, you know, I didn't have the replay. I knew this would happen. Fuck's sake. Should really let it buffer first. But let's talk about the matchup. While I kind of wait for that to buffer. I don't know why it's buffering now. While I wait for that to buffer. Oh, look at my hand. It's all like drawn on. Let's talk about the matchup for a while. Let's put him into perspective. Cassidin, he is a strong poker. He's a great anti-mage. But he is melee, which a lot of the time is his downfall in early elos, because he just gets pew-pewed all day, and he doesn't have any, what's the word? Sustain. He doesn't have any inherent sustain. So he really struggles in lane. That is until you hit level 6. He becomes such a menace when he hits Rift Walk, that he just, like, you can't get into range of him, even range, because he will most likely just Rift Walk onto you and then just fucking silence you and pulse you, and you're gonna take a lot of damage, and that silence lasts a long time. So pretty much the idea is that you pop your Rift Walk, jump onto them, Q, bring your deeps, and then just walk out and they can't actually react. This is gonna work relatively well against Zed. I mean, he's pretty poke based, which means, well, he's not poke based, he's ability based. Or he's an AD caster for the main of it, and of course his auto attacks do tons of damage, but it's mainly centered around his skills. And of course there's Zed's passive that won't be silenced. That's when if an enemy's below 50% health, then his first auto does 6% of their life in magic damage, which is actually incredibly strong. Like, it gets kind of overlooked a lot of the time, but it's an incredibly strong passive. It's called Call the Weak, I think. But basically, because of course, with his death mark, all that damage is just going to be echoed. So if you get that auto attack when they're below 50%, you will fuck them up. You do tons of damage. So Zed is very strong early game. He's a really great AD caster early game. With his W shadows, he has great poking. He doesn't have any inherent sustain either. But he does have that pre-6 escape, which most mid laners actually lack. Because you can just double shadow away and then drop an E while they're on the shadow, so they get slowed. And it's quite an effective escape, so I reckon Zed's going to have a much easier time than Cassidin in the early game. Having said that, Cassidin, when it gets to the late game, even if he gets just a little bit of farm, he's going to snowball way out of control. He scales brilliantly in the late game, whereas Zed's scaling is average. I mean, it could be better. So I think Cassin is probably going to fuck him up here. Like, if he just waits out the early game, waits till he gets his Rift Walk, and then just starts bringing the deeps and trying to get away and just doing that kind of hit-and-run tactic that Cassin loves, then he'll do well. But, of course, it's Faker, so I could be totally wrong. Whatever. There we go. So, yeah, as I said, he's just shoving that force pulse out, just poking. Obviously, Zed has a level 2 advantage, so he doesn't want to get near. But he wants to just pick up the CS and get to level 2 as fast as he can. There you go. Because level 2 is one of the greatest advantages in the entire, throughout the entire game. Normally, it's level 1 and 2 is like the biggest gap. And then it goes to level 5 and 6 because of the ulti. Sorry, that was a weird freeze. Level 5 and 6 because of the ulti. And then you've got levels on the ulti. So level 10 and 11 and level 16 and 17. I mean, 15 and 16. But it's pretty standard. He's just, like, last hitting, trying to dodge the Qs. He's getting out-leveled by Zed just a little bit, but that's fine. I mean, Zed's just 2 CS ahead, but Cassian has a bigger wave coming along. Yeah, as you can see there, just the big Zed poke coming along, but of course the force pulse coming along. It's a pretty basic... Oh, that's strange, he missed that. I think he didn't have force pulse ready, so he couldn't really have taken that. It's pretty basic, but like already he's dodging Zed's skill shots more than Zed's dodging hit. I mean, Zed can't dodge force pulse, but he's getting pushed with no major punishment, which isn't so good for Faker. But obviously he drops a nice Q there, and he's just like last hitting and poking whenever he can and popping those pots, and it's going fine. Like, there's no major pressure from coming out from Zed. He doesn't really want to jump on him. He's been missing from the lane, which means that that little level advantage that he had before is going to get reclaimed, like, pretty quickly. Zed's popping the health pots now because he's taking a lot of damage, but he's still at half health already while Faker's at full. Like, look at that shit. But obviously now Gaston's just a little bit ahead in experience, which means he's going to hit that crucial level 6, and I'm hoping that he just jumps straight onto him at level 6, but that's probably not going to happen. That was a really random E from Zed, but whatever. I mean, pretty basic stuff, just last hitting efficiently, dodging Qs, and he's actually he's not winning, but he's pretty dominant, because he's got those force pulses that just do tons of damage. Tons of damage. And he's dodging out the Zed Qs really efficiently. The Zed hasn't been able to land a full poke combo, like, all game. It's already been nearly 5 minutes. Like, he's just hitting him over and over and over, and Zed's having a hard time. See, right there, Zed threw his shadow forward. If he had landed an E and then a double Q, that's, like, a full Zed poke combo. First blood goes to the blue team bot lane. It's not the end of the world. I mean, Lee Sin assist and Vayne first blood could be better, but, you know. Zed's been forced out of lane. He's going to have a huge level disadvantage. I wonder why he went back, actually. He's going to have a very big level disadvantage here. He's only 2 CS down because, like, Cassin's not wanting to push the lane because obviously he doesn't have that pre-6 escape. He's just rushing to 6 as fast as he can without exposing himself to a gank too much. And obviously Zed's back in lane now at the level 5. Obviously. There you go. That was a full Zed poke combo, and he wants to hit that level 6. But unfortunately for Zed, there's a Maokai there. And that's going to mean bad news for Zed, so he gets fucked up. Cassin has no mana and has very little health, but I think he wants to stick around until he's got level 6 and Riftwalk. Yeah, there you go. It's a little more efficient to recall once you hit level 6, just because you can come in straight in with your ulti. And here's a good tip. If you're level 6 and they're level 5, use your ulti, even if it's just to get some damage, because the chances are that your ulti will come back up when they actually have theirs for the first time. So you get that little bit of an advantage on a little bit of ground that could lift you up. I'm sorry, has my mouse been there the whole time? Obviously, pretty standard stuff. He's just poking with the force pulse. Zed has only been able to hit one major combo, and he wanted to go in for the kill, but Maokai was there and it cost him his life. So that's just recklessness by Zed on Zed. Zed players do actually tend to be pretty... Wow, has my mic been that far away the whole time? I really hope you could have heard me. I don't know, Zed players tend to be quite aggressive and blah 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 blah. If you didn't hear me, I'll just cut it. Like, I'll just trim. If you did hear me, welcome back. And if you didn't, hi, for the first time. I'll check. But yeah, Cassin, he's doing pretty solidly. Obviously, Zed's being quite aggressive, and it was his downfall because he got ganked by Maokai. Just good play by Maokai. He was going overly aggressive without wards. And Cassin has that tier, and that's like the fucking just best item for Cassin ever. You have to get tier as soon as possible. It looks like he's going to go straight for Zhonya's because he's building a Seeker's Arm Guard now. So he's just going to stack that tier, build the Zhonya's. Perfect mage item when facing Zed because you can Zhonya's off. Actually, well, what most people do is wait for the death mark to wait for the death mark to like almost explode and then Zhonya's. But actually, That is not smart at all. What you really should do is wait until he uses his ulti and then Zhonya's, because the the explosion only echoes the damage that's done. So actually, what you should do... Yeah, there you go. Zed is not dead here. Maokai went pretty deep. He's probably going to get killed. Yeah. Boom. What you should do is wait until Zed uses his ulti, and then you want to Zhonya's, because if he can't get any damage off, then the damage from the Deathmark will be almost minimal, and he'll most likely have just gone straight into his EQ combo after using his ulti, so he'll actually waste some of his cooldowns. Beautiful. See, this is why Faker's just the best fucking genius in the fucking world. Just because, like, he predicted that so hardcore. He was like, oh, well, Lee Sin's probably stealing my blue. Oh, my blue. Unfortunately, he didn't pick up the kill because Lee Sin kicked, but, you know, like, if he was maybe a second earlier, he would have probably gotten the blue, actually. He got him just in the nick of time, but Lee Sin had to ban kick, so it's a small victory. He's being very reluctant to go forward because Zed has red buff, and no one likes a Zed with red buff. He's picking it... trying to help out Zac by killing Singe, but he's too low to go, and he's incredibly swishy. And while he does have a bit of a lane advantage, I mean by 1 CS and an assist, Zed has a kill, and he has a Doran's Blade with a longsword, so his damage is pretty scary. I mean, Zed's damage early game is always scary, but this is, like, scary. I just realized I didn't check the summoner spells. Yeah, they both have Ignite, okay. I was a little concerned because if Cassin was running TP, then he would be way less reluctant to go in, because he's missing both the damage from Ignite and the bonus AP and AD it gives with the Mastery, so he would have been losing a lot of the early kill advantage. But he's playing quite safely, quite passively, just waiting for Zed to hit that kind of mid-game where he really flourishes. And then he's going to roam a little bit, I'm presuming, and then as it gets later onto the game, he's just going to start participating in team fights and really dealing damage to that Zed. Because he's going to outscale Zed. He's going to roam top, I reckon. Does he have any wards? Yeah, 1. Now it's gone. But he's roaming top anyway. He's stacking up his Riftwalk there. Like, I don't know why I changed my mind, but it must be warded then. Because Singed reacted very quickly. Must be warded around Baron. But the reason they use Riftwalk, by the way, not only to travel short distances, but to stack it, because when you stack it, I think it reduces the cooldown. I totally don't remember, because I rarely play Cassin. I'm pretty sure it reduces the cooldown. You might have to fact check me on that, but they do need to stack it. I've just forgotten why. It's late. Come on. Zed's gone. Nah, never mind. He's there. He's picked up blue buff, so I'm assuming, yeah, Lee donated that blue buff to him. Which is a little curious, but then again, Zed already had blue buff. Probably could have given it to Singe because it's on top side. And actually, probably better off giving it to Singe just so he can probably like split push and just run around and just do some serious damage to that Zac. But, you know, it's a pretty even game overall. Maokai is being out-farmed pretty hard in the jungle. And Zed's out-farming Kassadin with a kill, so he's got about 100 CS worth of gold. I don't think Faker's in that much trouble that he needs to ping for help, but of course a gank would be nice, just because going up to CS would be pretty detrimental to him, because if Zed lands a full poke combo, that's like, what, a lot of his health done, and then, like, I would say about 40% of his health gone, and then he can just switch with the Shadow, get that single auto with the passive, and do shit like that. But that was a really nice dodge by Faker, not too early, not too late, because what happens if you Rift walk away instantly, then the Shadow lands behind where you were, where you land. So if you Rift walk over a wall once they've ultied, then they can just press R again, switch with the Shadow, and do that shit. Ignite there, nice Rift walk. That was quite predictive, actually. He gets away with a sliver of health. But, like, I don't know, he's inside the heads of... inside their head, like the Lee Sin counter jungle. What's the word for that? Basically, when he intercepted Lee, I don't know, he just knew the next move, and he knows Zed's next move, and he reacts so quickly with his Rift Walks to the point where it's like, damn. Because like, he knew Zed was about to go aggressive. All Zed could do was ignite before he managed to run away. He could press D. He had the opportunity to press D, and then Kassin was out. And that's just reaction times that you don't see on most people. But yeah, Zed's out of lane, so he's just last hitting, pushing this wave all the way to the tower. So hopefully it will die before Zed can come back and get it. But super simple stuff. He's gonna head bot lane, counter gank the Lee Sin, but it's risky because Lee Sin will out damage him pretty badly. He's got no kills and no deaths with 4 assists. Zed will out damage him pretty hard. Vayne won't out damage Kog'Maw, and Sona will out damage Alistar. But yeah, they need Maokai for this. I think, yeah, he's dead. Nice crescendo, and they're just getting all up on this. Lee's gonna get away. Zed's coming up behind, so they should be a little bit worried of that Zed and the explosion coming out from there. Because Zed has that high damage, yeah, he gets the double kill. Like, see there, just the high damage early game powerhouse that is Zed, and it's really frustrating. Is he gonna survive? That was, I didn't even know you could do that. He only took 1 tower shot there. But see, like, because he just, like, knew what's the word I'm looking for? That was just, like, awful. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. But it's just little things, like that jump between the towers, so he only took 1 tower shot. Normally he would have taken 2 or 3, but because he jumped so perfectly between them, he almost went away without taking any, and he probably could have just got through without taking any. And I'm very tired, but yeah, Zed came down with the stupid amounts of damage that he does early game, so now he's about 10 CS ahead, and he's gonna get this tower very soon, which is gonna be a major problem. So unless Faker just relentlessly pushes, Zed's gonna take this tower, and when mid tower goes down, that means the mid laner can roam like a fucking boss. And if mid tower goes down that early, then it's most likely because the mid laner is very, very fed. Well, not very fed, but just very strong. And like a 3-1-1 Zed with Hex Drinker is a force to beware. So if this tower goes down, it would be a big problem. I think he's probably just gonna, yeah, he's gonna wave clear as hard as he can. But the problem is that Faker's kind of crippled here, and the fact that if he roams, he'll lose mid tower very. Ooh, that's not good. He'll lose mid tower very quickly, and if he loses mid tower, that means Zed can roam freely because there's not very much worry at all about mid tower getting taken by Kassin. So it's gonna go down now. And to be honest, I'm not really sure why he sacrificed it so easily. I don't really know the logic. I think he wanted to make sure that Lee didn't seal blue. And I would say that an early game blue buff on Kassin is, wow, that was perfect, is more important than a well, I don't know. I would debate that, but then again, it was so low that holding onto it would just not work. It couldn't have been held on for very much, or very long anyway. If he stayed there the entire game, probably wouldn't hold. He wouldn't keep it very long. And obviously, the wave clear from Zed is pretty strong, and since Zed is AD, he's going to push those waves quite a bit faster. So, I would say a good call overall. But it's unfortunate that the tower had to get that low, and it's a little worrying because now Zed is just going to be able to run around to every lane he wants and probably snowball a bit. And, like, obviously, it's not going so well because Vayne is 6-2-1. Like, Vayne is going to snowball pretty badly. But just the rift walks and the general mechanics and reactions are so solid from Faker that it's like, damn. You can just see why he's the best player in the world. Like, that rift walk out of the Singe fling for, like, the extra range, that was just like, whoa, what is this? Get on my level. But I'm assuming, yeah, he's just pushing this wave out as hard as he can. But Zed's back, he's just gonna clear it really easily. Slice, 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 punch, 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 punch. Maokai wants to come in for a gank, but Zed's cleared the wave, so he can just run around and do whatever he wants now. That's pretty much mid lane is what you can do. He's probably going to head bottom lane with Alistar. I think he's on top of Alistar there. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's with Alistar. No, he's not. What am I saying? He's still in mid lane. Whatever, they got bot tower, so that's positive. Interesting rift walk. I guess he just didn't want to get death ultied on. Smack to the face. Lupo as well. He's fucking good. He's a bro. Why am I whistling? What the fuck? I'm so tired. I was putting this off for so long. I have tons of work to do, but instead I just decided to procrastinate. This is not very good. He can probably outdamage Lee, but not like that. He's a little reluctant to go in. He's waiting for his cooldowns. He's probably just going to drop a Q or two, or maybe just recall altogether. He's playing very, very safe, very, very passively, right at the back of the team fight. Zach's taking some hefty damage. He is either going to get a double or nothing. It's one. It's probably going to be a double. Did he get it? Yeah, it's with those situations always a double or nothing. Like it's oh, that was close. It's either gonna be that they manage to like CC lock or out damage the person going for the double, or that the guy just comes in with his ultra AoE damage and fucks them both over. So like a really heavy coordination is actually required in those kind of situations where you're both on low health and someone's coming over, which is where teamwork comes into play. But right now he's 4-0-0. He played very, very well there. He played safely. He just waited for the perfect opportunity to jump in, got the double kill. It was quite close, but he got it. Also got the Alistar dive, which was again quite close, but he got it with the red buff, which is I'm quite lucky. And now he is pretty fucking farmed up, and he's pretty much beating Zed, I would say, round about now. He's around 20 CS behind, which isn't the end of the world, but he's also a kill up, an assist, equal on assist, but he's also died twice less. So he's doing pretty solid. It's very fair to say. But this is just Faker, like, he just does everything right. I fucking hate it. He doesn't do everything right, but he does everything right, you know? Like, when he does something, he does it right. That totally doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to get across the things, but it's just so, like, not words today. Have you ever got the feeling where it's just like, wow, I totally don't want to... Like, losing mid tower was unfortunate, because there were a couple of needless roams where he didn't really get all that much out of it. Then again, Cassin is built around roaming and kind of has to. Damn, that damage. Note away by Alistar. Good guy, Alistar. Random pummel that didn't actually hit, but oh well. He unfortunately lost mid tower as a price for his roaming, but then again, just now as his roaming, he got himself 3 extra kills, which is really going to make him snowball into that fucking precious late game where they're going to tear anus. And, like, look at their team comp for team fights. I mean, damn. They got Zac, amazing initiator. Maokai, amazing AoE ulti for team fights. The damage reduction is just OP as fuck. Sona Crescendo, broken. Super long range Kog'Maw ulti, broken. Kassadin, gonna jump around and assassinate those high priority AD carries. Their team fight potential is incredibly high here. Whereas theirs, I mean... Singe is a good teamfight champion if he just sprints around, ultis, drops his poison, and he does tons of AoE damage. Lee Sin is a pretty poor team fighter. He's mainly based around skirmishes. If you go tank Lee Sin, you have pretty strong initiate, and obviously his kick is pretty useful in sieges. But you know, Zed is pretty strong in team fights. He does pretty much the same job as Kassadin, only potentially a little bit better, because he has 2 jumps instead of 1, so he can get in and out a little bit more easily, and Kassadin has to commit a little more. Vayne is a fucking murderer of a team fighter, because she's got the great mobility with Tumble, and the Silver Bolts, they're just going to stack and stack and stack and shred through Maokai and Zac, but I would definitely say that Faker's team have the better team fights here. We'll have to see now, and we're actually going to see pretty soon, because... they're about to get sieged by blue team. I'm not sure why Kassadin wants to recall so bad. I guess he's just got gold to spend. Oh, he's probably going to buy Zhonya's. A Magi, are you serious? Did Faker just go balls deep? Dude, Faker just went balls deep. He bought a Magi's. For those of you who don't know, Magi's is an item that stacks off kills, and it can give you tons and tons of AP in that CDR that you need. But at the same time... it is such a risky pick. You only really buy Magi's if you're like crazy fed. And considering he's 4-0, he's obviously very confident in his casting abilities, and as he should be, considering he's like the best player in the world. But yeah, it's a very risky thing because if you don't get the kill stacks or the assist stacks, then it's pretty golden efficient. But once you get those stacks, it's like what, what, and then you just do tons of fucking damage. So it was interesting to see. I thought he was gonna rush his Zonius because he's already got the Seeker's Arm Guard. I'm guessing he just wants to hold it off and pick up that damage and maintain this kind of mid-game skirmishes that they're having. But it looks like they're going to assemble for a 4v5 right now with Zac in the top lane, just kind of split push. I'm not sure who they're going to get to respond to Zac. Zac isn't particularly fed, but he's also very tanky right now. He's got the Spirit Visage already, got a Giant's Belt, he's got the Haunting Guys, which gives you the health, and the Chain Vest. So he's going to be quite a force to be reckoned with. Zed goes up top, so Zac comes down mid lane. I guess Zac didn't want to go 1v1 up against Zed, and actually maybe rightfully so, purely because he has Blade of the Rune King, and Blade of the Rune King does percentile damage based on their health, which means it'll pretty much tear through Zac quite easily, especially coming out with the combo. Not so good to go in 1v1 as Zed, especially as Zac, or any health-based champion for that matter, or tanky champion. Pretty much anyone, actually. You'd struggle to find a champion that can like efficiently 1v1 Zed, because he is a great duelist. Just got tons of that 1v1 combo damage. But yeah, Singe going ham here, Ghost and ulti. He's just trying to get that poison stacks as much as possible. Unfortunately, no one's in a really great position to follow Singe up. Lee Sin, this is what I'm talking about here. He goes pretty deep. And Zed with the assassination on the 1v1 targets, but he doesn't even successfully do it just because the faker damage is too fucking strong, man. He's probably, locked up whoa, that was, I genuinely thought he was going to get away, and I was like, what? The main problem with that team fight was that I think Crescendo was used a little preemptively, and while, Trollboy, Kog'Maw, got Lee Sin kicked in, he survived a little while, but not long enough to do the damage that it needed, and then Vayne got two really easy condemns up against the corner of that wall, and if she hadn't have gotten those condemns, they probably could have salvaged that team fight. But as a result, Zed's just going to sit there and push and do this fucking damage. And look at Zed, I mean, like, I don't know if he life sealed that back up, or if he's just on full health, like, throughout the team fight, but he was untouched, and that's a little bit disturbing, because you cannot let Zed run around untouched. Like, it's Zed, he's just gonna sit there fucking wreck through your squishies, your AD carries, your AP carries. I'm pretty sure he killed both Kog'Maw and Cassin, so Zed did his job very efficiently there. It was a nice engage by Singed. He got locked up by Maokai, but to be honest, I think that could have been executed better by Faker's team, because see the way they squish themselves into that one corridor, that's a perfect position for both a Crescendo and a Maokai ulti, because when Maokai drops his ulti, his team take reduced damage by like 20% or something dumb, and that damage can be absorbed and then activated to do damage to the enemy team. So it's kind of a perfect position for a Maokai ulti. And then Zac, I didn't see him let's bounce. Maybe he did, maybe I'm just retarded. I didn't see Zac let's bounce. He just lost to a 1v1 to Zed, which, you know, is kind of obviously going to happen. So I think that could have been executed actually a lot more efficiently. If they just got that wombo combo off of the Crescendo, Maokai ulti, and the Zac ulti. Unfortunately, they didn't, and they kind of got ruffle stomped. Well, they didn't get ruffle stomped. It was a 4-3 trade with a tower. That's not the end of the world. It's not a huge disadvantage. They are losing in gold by about 6k. And they just picked up Dragon, which they had no idea of. And I hate to say it, but their ward coverage is pretty weak. Obviously, they have been pressured pretty hardcore because they've lost quite a few towers. They've lost one top lane, one mid lane, and two bot lane, which means it's kind of hard to get into the enemy jungle and even the river and start warning up those big objectives like Baron and Dragon, and then the lesser objectives like red buff and blue buff. So I'm not surprised their ward coverage isn't as solid, and they're kind of getting stomped here. It's not looking so good. They're 2 towers down. Obviously, Faker is playing excellently. It's a shame he got condemned against that wall. just this wall against the Wraiths here. I thought he got away, but he died to Ignite, which is a shame. It's very strange. It's very rare to see Faker die. And it's interesting that he took Mujai's, but that guy's fucking dead. I don't know, because I'm assuming that blue team's wall coverage isn't that good either then. Because he probably should have seen that going. Like, he was in River, and if they didn't have wall coverage, then of course they were going to be fucked up. Let's see how the siege is. I would say that they have relatively okay siege. I mean, obviously they're going to get tons of damage from Cogmore, but their tower ability, like, they're not going to get through towers very quickly because they've only got one AD champion. This is almost a full AP comp, AP top lane, AP mid lane, AP jungle. So they're going to struggle to take down those towers. Cogmore obviously is going to do the damage he can, and he can poke really efficiently with his ulti stacks, his ulti, but other than that. And Vayne, as you see, the Silver Bolt's just mincing through there. Alistar with a nice knock-up. Let's Bounce kind of wasted on an escape, which sucks because it's not so good. Same Crescendo, use on a disengage, and Zed is just going to follow up here and start fucking shit up. But yeah, this is the mid-game that Zed really fucking excels. Little worry of what's going to happen to the late game or the super late game. Even if it does get there, they're probably going to lose mid tower and probably an inhibitor. Maybe not, maybe not, I don't know. But this is where Zed really shines in just these mid-game exchanges where he has this crazy damage and he's just going to shred through them. I'm pretty sure this is a loss for Faker. It's a salvageable game by a long way. That was a really nice Rift Walk. It was baited out quite nicely, actually. Yeah, he Rift Walked so that he would carry Lee all the way across, so that Lee wouldn't be able to engage with his team. He would just be carried away, and it potentially opens up a kill for Faker. And he baited that out by doing the recall. He jumps right into Zed here. Mistake. I'm a little disappointed. Why Kassadin, aka Faker, thought he could 1v1 a 10-2 Zed, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he went with the assumption that Zed didn't have his ulti up, or maybe he went with the assumption that he can have the burst enough to kill Zed. But as I said previously, 1v1ing a Zed is just never really a good plan. No matter what champion playing, he's one of the best duelists. I would say Trundle, because Trundle is definitely one of, if not the strongest duelists in the game. He has really great 1v1ing. Let's see if they can make a steal him back. Oh my god. He just got fucking pwned by Alistar there. So if you missed that, Zach was charging up his slingshot so that he could fly in and go for the smite steal. But while he was charging it up, Alistar came in and knocked him away so that he had to stop charging it up, and it goes on cooldown. So he got ruined there. That Baron, I think, will probably close out the game. Barons tend to do that in solo queue. They pretty severely, like, once you give up Baron, you're just going to get massively out-damaged, massively out-sieged, and that's probably GG. And it doesn't look like there's very long left in the video. But there's no real main point I'm trying to get across on this one, other than the fact that you shouldn't duel Zed. And Faker is a genius, but sometimes he gets a bit cocky. Like, I think the Mujai's was dumb. I'm not gonna lie. His itemization is good, and in general, he's, like, as I said, the best player in the world. And while he was 4-0 with Kassadin, which is normally a gateway into way more kills, he would have been much better off going for that Zhonya's, in my opinion. But that's just my honest opinion. Feel free to correct me. Feel free to propose some logical argument as to why I'm an idiot. But it looks like the final siege is probably going to be coming up within the next couple of minutes. That's going to split push top lane, which means the rest four of them are probably going to go, wow, bot lane. That's quite funny, actually. But as I said, Zed is such a 1v1 threat that these are your options, right? Because the game is basically 5 people trying to knock down as many turrets as they can. Good condemn. But, like, nice wombo combo coming out there with the Crescendo Let's Bounce, but he is getting fucked up by Vayne. That's, wow, really? That is, like, surprising to see, actually. Rarely you see a Kassadin get fucked up so hard by a Vayne, but he kind of got outplayed there. 12-2 Zed. He's just been playing pretty excellently, to be honest. Triple kill, nicely done. What I was trying to say is that So basically, this game, the way sieges work is that you can have a 5-man siege, which is against 5 other men, and the 5 people try and hold them off as long as they can. Yeah, this is probably GG. 5 people try and hold them off as long as they can. I'm just gonna pause it right here, because obviously that's GG. Okay, so what I was saying was, basic siege is basically 5 people from one team try and knock down a tower, while 5 people from the other team try and take the tower, try and keep the tower. This main problem is that Zed was a force to be reckoned with, and Zed is normally a great duelist, especially with Blade of the Ruined King. He is incredibly good at dueling, and considering most of their tanks were health based, and no one else had the damage output to take him on 1v1 or the sustainability to take him on 1v1, and you can't really stack armor because then Singe will just fucking kill you. Although I think some armor stacking would have been a better approach. I totally got sidetracked. So the main problem is, you're sieging 5v5 down the mid lane. That's fine. But then one of your very fed champions, such as Zed, decides to go top lane and siege that lane. No one can contest him. No one person can contest him. Which means he's just going to go through uncontested. Which means you have to send 2 people up. Which drops the mid lane down to a 5v3. And the 5v3 will so easily be won by the mid laners. By the 5... No, sorry. 5v3? 4v3. It will drop down to a 4v3. And though Zed might die if he doesn't see it coming or predict it properly, that doesn't mean that mid tower is not going to go down, and he pretty much did his job. And if one person goes up, then Zed's just going to ulti on them, mince them to death, take the tower, and, you know, probably get a second tower from mid lane. So you have to be very careful in a situation where a really strong duelist, like Zed, like Trundle, like Rengar, like Vayne actually surprisingly is a very strong duelist. Riven as well, way up there. It's just hard to fight against that, and when Zed gets that position where no one can take him down in a 1v1, it's like an anime, you know. It's like a really cheesy anime where the villain has become super strong, and it's like, who will face me? Ha 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 ha. And he just fucking rips through the villagers, and they're like, oh no, who will save us? And it's like, the mighty Kassadin, ha! But then Kassadin goes in for the fight, and it's like, ha 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 ha. And Zed just makes him explode with the death mark, and Kassadin dies, and Zed just keeps fighting through, and then the entire series ends and the villain won. I totally got sidetracked. What I'm trying to say is, don't feed Zed. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.